Do you struggle with being on time, or do you have trouble knowing how long it might take you to complete a task? The phrase time blindness refers to the inability to sense the passing of time, and it can make life a lot more challenging. If you struggle with time blindness, you're not alone, as this is a common symptom associated with ADHD. The good news is that we have 6 tips for you to fight time blindness and take back control of your time. Tip number 1. Use alarms and timers. One way to make time more real is to have more visibility of it in your everyday life. Buy a few clocks and position them in areas around your home where you often lose track of time. Looking at clocks often can help you judge the duration of various activities. Keep in mind though that clocks are passive indicators, so you may need to try some additional tools alongside them. For instance, you could try using speaking clocks that announce what time it is to remind you that time is passing. Or you can set recurring reminders on your phone that alert you at a certain time. It may take some time to set these systems up, but you'll likely find the payoff to be worth it. When all you have to do is listen and respond to a cue instead of remembering you were supposed to do a certain thing at a certain time, it can almost feel like a superpower. Tip number 2. Beware of dopamine drips. Activities that dole out dopamine at regular intervals to keep us engaged can be particularly hazardous to the ADHD brain. Such activities might include watching television, playing video games, scrolling social media, and yes, even reading a book can steal time away from you without you even noticing. To ADHD brains, it doesn't matter that precious time is passing as long as you're engaged and interested in whatever activity it is that's keeping your attention at the current moment. Ask yourself, how long would I realistically like to spend on this activity? Then, set a timer that'll go off when the amount of time you decided on has passed, and move on to something else. Tip number 3. Replace digital clocks with analog clocks. Having clocks in plain sight is useful, but one thing that can happen while looking at a digital clock is that your brain might start to ignore the actual information there. Think of all the times you looked at a digital clock to see what time it was, then had to check again a minute later because you didn't encode the information into your brain. Try replacing digital clocks with their analog counterparts, and you may find it easier to visualize and remember the position of clock hands than you could the glowing lines of a digital clock face. Tip number 4. Make time to plan for the future. Avoid setting high expectations for long-term planning only to berate yourself when it doesn't pan out. Instead, schedule time to revisit your calendar for the coming months. You can either do this alone or with your partner or family. Use this time to review your goals and establish desired timelines for achieving them. For example, if you aim to go on a cruise this year, set specific dates within the next few weeks or months to decide on the cruise route, purchase tickets, and shop for your vacation essentials like sunglasses and flip-flops. By planning and setting things in motion this way, you'll prevent your goal from fading away as time passes. Tip number 5. Use dry erase calendars to make time visible. Dry erase calendars can be really helpful for knowing what you have coming up over the following days, weeks, and months. Try using a 3-month calendar and label the current month and the next 2 months. Write down all of the important events you have coming up, like vacations or doctor's appointments, or even tasks like paying your rent. Use a magnet to keep track of today, and move the magnet forward 1 space every day. This little ritual is enough to build in an opportunity to be aware of passing time and to know what you have coming up. Tip number 6. Break large tasks into smaller tasks. Some tasks may feel like they're too large to fit into your schedule or too overwhelming to know where to begin. For example, let's say you need to buy a new car. This might feel like too big of a task to tackle all at once. Instead, think of all of the smaller tasks that you need to complete to buy a car. First, you might research the kind of car you want. Then, you'll want to find local dealerships that sell those cars. Finally, make time for test drives. You'll want to assign a due date to each of these smaller tasks and write them on your monthly dry erase calendars. You can follow the same process for any task that feels too large or overwhelming. Struggling with time management and time blindness can be challenging, especially for individuals with ADHD. By implementing these strategies consistently, you can work to overcome time blindness and enjoy a more organized and fulfilling life. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any topics you'd like us to cover, let us know in the comments. Until next time!